Greetings, citizens. Just a guy has arrived, and this is more that which binds us. Last time we worked through maybe some of our issues with Idris, or rather, Evalise did, and now we're gonna call him and let him know we're ready for our date. Oh, there he is. Hey, hi. Ready to go? Sure. Is it an app on my phone that uses GPS? Did you slip a tracker in my purse? You really can't drop a topic, can you? Traffic was a headache due to a car wreck down the road from work. Not the best thing to ease my nerves, but we arrived in one piece. Gotta go, uh-oh, on this date. Is it a regular looking bookstore? Well, maybe not regular. It is a regular looking bookstore, rather. It's one of those shops that try to look quirky and hip, located in an old building, furnished with a mix of antiques and neo decor. The first floor is full of, well, books. According to a small sign, there's a coffee shop in the basement floor, and on the floor above us is a lounge and more bookshelves. Not exactly I would have thought of, not exactly a place I would have thought Idris would know about. Well, here we are. Impressed yet? But that was a joke. Oh, I'm sorry you don't know what comedy is, really. Very funny. Come on, it's this way. I hope this isn't another let's sneak onto the roof. Nah, that's later. See, I've got to be somewhat funny if that made you laugh. Alright, show me what we're here for. Right this way. He leads me through a maze of bookshelves. Oh, that is giving me flashbacks, although I'm not sure anyone watching this would know what I'm talking about, but if you are a person, I'm just shut up now. All placed in seemingly sporadic and random arrangements. This floor isn't too busy, but as we draw closer to the stairs leading up, I could hear some commotion. Not any yelling or anything, but just a lot of feet shuffling and quiet chit-chat. a book signing? Can't say I was expecting that. Who is this guy? Well, he's a book writer. Amazing. He was one of my dad's favorite writers. I never really cared much for most of the books my dad collected, but this guy's books were at least the most entertaining of the bunch. They focus more on bringing fact and fiction closer together, and trying to look at every myth as trying to have some kind of real-life significance, rather than taking everything wholeheartedly. A lot of my dad's books were just stabs in the dark. That wasn't a pun, but you get it. Just talking about myths and attempting to explain them, really, without looking at what actually exists and how the myth and reality could relate. Some were barely more in-depth than what you'd find in any clickbait article. I thought you weren't curious. I won't devote a ton of time to searching, but I figured I could at least read some of his books. I read most of them when I was younger. A few I ended up rereading after he passed. Who exactly is this guy? Well, he's a two-time veteran who served over 20 years overseas, moving from place to place. Once he was finally discharged, he realized his passion in life was exploring, and he set out to see more of the world. During his travels, he learned a lot about foreign and ancient cultures and drew from his knowledge and findings to co-write several books. Some autobiographies, some historical books. I think if we had the money, that's what my dad would have done with his life. Exploring. Searching. That'd be an interesting life to live, wouldn't it? Going on adventures and covering artifacts that haven't seen the light of day in millennia. Yeah, sleeping in tents with no air conditioners or plumbing, traveling to places where you don't know the languages or customs. Well, I never said there would be only upsides to it. Well, he won't be here all day. What's he here for anyway? A signing? A signing and a promotion of his newest book, one on ancient rituals. Interesting. More like gruesome. I'll stick to civilizations as a whole rather than bloodbaths. Suit yourself. So, are you going to get a book signed by him? Maybe frame it? Cute. No, I won't frame it. What do you even do with a signed book? Well, it sits on your shelf, and then you never read it again. Great use of a book. You act like you don't have any. Maybe I do, but I still use them as actual books. There's no point to buying a book and not reading it. Of course, I doubt you'd read them anyway. But maybe you can read them with me. What's that supposed to mean? L- Like, we both read it and talk about it? Like a book club. Just forget it. Aw, do you want to read books with me? Shut up. He turns around and gets in line, clearly unable to think of anything else to say. I just get behind him. There's a fair number of people here, most standing around looking at the book they just got signed. Some are a bit odd looking, but I suppose that comes with the topic. All these people here, how many of them actually believe this stuff? Better yet, how much of this stuff is actually real? Do they read these books just for the fantasy and mystery of it all? Are they writers looking for inspiration? Is it even possible that one of them is searching for answers? A few months ago, I wouldn't have batted an eye at things like this. I always preferred actual history, not speculation on what myths were based on what. That's probably why I prefer more modern studies where there's more documentation and evidence. But now there's a new take on it all. There's that some of it might have some merit. Idris says he's not interested in finding answers, but yet we're here, in line today. Is this just for sentimental reasons? Did he think I'd enjoy being here more? He's looking around a bit, probably now noticing the people here. I didn't think he could get self-conscious so easy. I guess we all hate being in the dark, even if we don't want to admit it. Was it everything you hoped for? And more. Is that it? Yeah, it's just an autograph. It sounds weird when you put it that way. What? That's all it is, an author's autograph on their own works. The cashiers all look antsy. It's near closing time and they're ready to go. From the way it looks outside, it could be 8 o'clock. I hate how dark it is that it gets this time of year. One particular cashier looks particularly impatient of looking around a lot. Wait, isn't that... That looks like that kid I saw in front of Idris's office. How many weeks ago was that? Did he notice Idris or me? Maybe he was just walking by that day. It doesn't really matter now. Either way, Idris certainly isn't looking in his direction. Idris keeps looking towards the door. He's probably ready to leave. It's probably colder now, too, and my bag from work is in his car. Still, this was fun. Despite the teasing, he had fun too. Alright, where to next? What, am I the activities director now? You're the one who invited me here, remember? You picked the seafood place, then I picked the cafe. You picked the museum. I picked here, and now you can pick again. Wait, aren't you forgetting the dessert shop? That barely counts. He is right, though. We've been to a lot of places already. I didn't really think this far through. Hmm. Hmm. No clue, huh? Hmm. How about we walk by the pier then? It'll be all bright and lit up by now. All right. The sky is dazzling at this time of night. The building lights make up for the invisibility of the stars being this close to the heart of town. There's a nice breeze in the air, made cooler from the water by the pier. Most people are out eating rather than taking a walk, but still. You didn't have to pay for my ticket to the museum and the book, too. I should have paid for yours the other day since I dragged you along. Forget it. I make more than you anyway. Let me cover it. He just waves his hand and leans back on the railing. How much do bail bonds make anyway? Or better yet, how much does he usually charge for his other services? Alright then. So what makes more, selling bonds or getting rid of them? He seems to answer better when I'm blunt. Ha! Getting rid of them for sure. There's a lot of paperwork involved in getting people out of jail early, and I wasn't the best at it when starting out. Sometimes there'd be misfiled paperwork, or missing signature, or misplaced comma, all sorts of things that'd come back to bite me in the ass. There aren't exactly step-by-step guides on how to fill it all out, so it was definitely a hands-on learning process. He shuffles his hands and arms a bit, looking uncomfortable. So, for a couple of years, it felt like I was in a rut and wouldn't get anywhere. Then my other business kicked off. How do you even advertise something like that? I didn't have to. My father and grandfather had been doing it for years, so there was already a few people who knew about it. line of work, that is. After a while, they heard the shop was back open and came knocking. And eventually, others came knocking too. I came into some money thanks to that. So, yeah, I make more than you. But maybe not forever if you go back to school and get a degree, eh? Hopefully. The lights from the buildings around us are bright. They almost don't need lamps here. I can faintly hear cars and buses from the freeway right beside us. But over here, on the water bank, it's peaceful. I can feel his warmth beside me as he puts his arms on the railing. Hey, hey, how long have you lived here? My whole life, of course. How else do you think my father and grandfather owned the same business? Oh, right, that makes sense. How long have you been here? Most of my life. My mom moved here when I was in preschool after she got a divorce. She moved away after I graduated and moved out, but I'm still here. How much longer are you going to live here? Well, what does that mean? Like, have you ever thought of moving away? Sometimes. It's crossed my mind before. Just packing up everything and leaving town. Starting over. But then, what do I really have to start over with besides finding a new job? Maybe that's a bit too depressing. But you have thought about it before. Of course. Haven't we all? It can be a really silly idea sometimes, but just letting your mind consider leaving where you're at and starting off fresh, it can be a nice thought. Definitely. I thought about it a few times when I was starting out. Selling the store, packing up, leaving. But I wouldn't have been starting over. I would have been running away. Running away from what? There's something keeping me here. That's why I stayed. His eyes look intense. Not intense in a scary way, but in a determined sort of way. But there's also a bit of dejection in there. Do you think you found what's keeping you here yet? Maybe. Dots. We both lose track of time. I stare a bit too long at him, and after dropping each other's gazes, we just look at the lake. The night has gotten colder now. Off in the distance, small, blinking lights can be seen in the sky. It's getting about that time of year. I'm going to have to fly to see Mom soon for Christmas. I wonder, what about his mother? Does he ever talk to her? What about the rest of his family? But looking at him, the silence, the cool breeze, the twinkling lights on the horizon, not right now. It can be a question for another time. In fact, maybe next time? That's right, citizens, because I'm afraid that this is going to have to be farewell.